Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Teach Me to Code screencast. This is Charles Max Wood, and this week I'm going to be going into polymorphic associations on many-to-many relations. This is kind of the follow-on to last week's. I want to dig into this, but before I do it, I want to let you know two things. One is that next week I will be out of town. I'm going to a family reunion. I'm taking my kids to Disneyland the day before that. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty packed weekend. Anyway, that means I'm going to be gone Thursday, so I won't be here. I actually won't be here for Ruby Rogue's podcast either, but those guys are going to do it without me, and we'll get it up as soon as possible. So anyway, I also want to point out that I am not going to be doing nested forms. Nested attributes in forms is something that I covered a while back, and it works pretty much the same way. So if you have any questions about that, then I'll put a link to the video in the show notes, and then if there's something more that you want from that, then you can go into you can click request a topic on teachmetocode.com and either leave a comment on the many-to-many relationships part or just submit a new topic and vote it up so that I can cover that. All right, well, let's jump in then. So I've created a new Rails project. In fact, if we come over here, you can see that I just called it Polymorphic Many Demo. I'm actually going to push this up to GitHub as soon as I'm done here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a model, and in the model it's going to be a user model. In fact, let's kind of go with kind of a library theme here, so we'll call it a patron. We'll have a name and a barcode, and then what we'll do is we'll actually have different items in the library. And each of these items will have book, which has a title and a barcode. Now, in the interest of keeping this code dry, what I would probably also do is create a module that manages the barcodes separately, or maybe have a barcode model that managed all of that, and then just have associations to it. But anyway, we're going to do this the way it is. We're also going to have CDs, and we'll have an artist on here. And let's say that that's all we have. I mean, most libraries also have videos and things like that, but we'll just skip it for right now. So we have two item types that we want to handle here. One other thing I want to point out is this example is a little bit contrived, because I would probably actually be more inclined to make them all use single table inheritance in this case, and actually do an item class and then have books and CDs and videos and everything fall under that as a subclass. But anyway, this does give us enough of a background to set this up. So one other thing that we're going to need for a polymorphic many-to-many is a mapping table, just like any other polymorphic setup. Now I'm actually going to use another model for this. I'm going to do a has many, and then I'm going to do a has many through. Now one thing I want to point out is the has many through is actually going to blow up, but I'm going to show you rather than just gloss over it and say, oh, this doesn't work. So we're going to have patron items, and it's going to have a patron ID, and it will have an item type and an item ID. And that's our polymorphism right there, the item type and item ID. If you're not familiar with polymorphism, in a nutshell, real quick, polymorphism is the item type is the class name, and the item ID is the ID, the foreign key. So anyway, if we do a migration, then we should get all of this into the database. And once that's in, then we can go ahead and set up our associations. So patron. Oh, whoops. You know what? Let's just skip this. New file. Patron.rb. So our patron is going to have many patron items, and then it's going to have many items through patron items. So what does this mean? Oops. I keep hitting shift at the wrong time. Sorry. All right, so this means then that we need to go to patron items, and it's going to have to belong to user patron, and it's going to have to belong to item, and item is polymorphic. All right, so far so good, except that we forgot that. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to go ahead and, in fact, let's just come over here, Rails console, p equals patron.create name Chuck, barcode is awesome, because why not, right? If I could pick my barcode, it would probably be something cool. All right, so then we want to go ahead and create a book. Now I know that's a book series, not a book. Great book series, by the way. Okay, so now we want to be able to add this to the patron items, right? So if we go ahead and we just look here real quick, p.items, it's going to blow up. And it's blowing up because patron item doesn't exist, which is my bad. It should be here. And then we should be able to actually remove that and then open the console again. It's that convention over configuration thing. And incidentally, I just did I just did an episode. Did I split the screen? I didn't mean to. That's good to know, though. Patron item. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we have patron and item here now. So if we do p equals patron.first, because we've already created it in the p.items, we get this fun little readout right here. Undefined method belong to. Boy, I am on a roll today. Whoops. Belongs to. And I just realized that might actually be cut off for you folks, good folks at home. So we'll go ahead and write that I found that the reload bang doesn't always reload all of your objects, and it's just a hassle, so I would rather just do this. P dot items. Okay. So you can see here, has many through association polymorphic error. Cannot have a has many through association on patron items on the polymorphic object item. So it won't let you do it. So instead, what we're going to have to do here is we are going to have to go ahead and change patron so that we can get items another way. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to make this into a method. In fact, let's just go ahead and now one thing that I found is that if I do it this way, it does some wonky stuff and it doesn't let me do the eager loading that I want to do in order to load it up. So what I did instead when I was playing with this before is I do a where user ID equals and for the people who don't like doing string interpolation on your conditionals, this isn't user input, so it's actually perfectly safe. Include item. So we're eager loading our items, and it should be includes. Excuse me. So then what we need to do is we need to map. And we should be able to just do this. This is symbol to proc. If you don't know what it is, look it up or request a topic and I'll cover it. I may even dig into how it works, which should be fun. But anyway, so get that in there. Sorry, I keep itching my head. I was working on my car all day yesterday and I was out in the sun. So there we go. So then if we do p equals patron dot first, p dot items, uninitialized const patron items. Let's see if we can make this work. P equals patron dot first, p dot items. No such column. Patron items dot star from patron items where user ID equals 1. Right. Why would that be? Because okay. There we go. So that's what we wanted. We got this empty set right there. So then what we can do is, I think we created a book. Equals book dot first. Okay. So one problem we have here then is that we don't get the handy little p dot items. You know, b, that won't work. Or will it? Yeah, see, it won't work. So, because what it is it's adding it in this case. It's kind of a tricky thing, but it's actually it's adding it to the array that was instantiated by the map, but then that gets thrown away. It gets garbage collected because it's out of scope. So what we need to do here is we can actually go ahead and cheat, and we can do this. So we can self.patron items, and I know that strictly speaking you don't need to include self, but because self is implicit in Ruby, so unless you give it something else to call against, it'll call it against self. Anyway, patron items.create item. Oh, looks like we got some errors here. Yeah. Okay, so this isn't going to work. It's not going to let us define it with this operator, or this operator there. Whoops. Vim's too powerful for its own good. So anyway, we can't do that, but so what we're going to have to do instead is we're going to have to do patron item, actually. So patron item.create. All right, sorry for the interruption. Somebody came to the door and my wife isn't here. So anyway, so we have the patron and item. So then if we look, we have that. So then if we want to create a CD, and I'm sure it's called CD like that, cd.create, title, artist, then if we go ahead and we do the same thing, p.items, now you can see it includes the book and the CD. So, you know, effectively that patron is checked them both out. So as far as managing the polymorphic collection, what you would probably wind up doing, and I'm not going to do it here, is probably wind up creating some class that isn't an active record class that basically contains an array. And so what would happen then is your patron, if you called patron.items, is it would actually generate this object that's item collection, for example, and that item collection would include all of this stuff, and then you could put the chevron operator, this operator, and you know, be able to append and do all that stuff. It's kind of a pain in the rear end. There is a plugin that I found called Access Polymorphic, but it hasn't been converted to Rails 3. I saw one person that attempted to port it, but I didn't get a chance to play with it, so I'm not sure about how stable it is. But that is something to consider, and this may be something that somebody else may want to jump in and make worthwhile. Need expert help with your Ruby, Rails, or Sinatra application? Give me a call. My phone number is 801-367-6164, or you can email me, chuck@teachmetocode.com. Thank you. New Relic is the leading provider of application performance management tools for Ruby and Java applications. Thousands of companies use New Relic RPM to monitor, troubleshoot, and optimize applications deployed either in the cloud or in dedicated hosting environments. RPM Lite is free, fully supported, unlimited time version available at www.newrelic.com. All the leading Rails companies use New Relic, including 37 Signals, AT&T Interactive, Shopify, OurStage, IGN, and lots more.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!